Scribes, here they are. Let's do it.
You're good, Coach.
Extremely proud of our football team, our players, and our coaches. That is a really close group of people in that locker room. And I was really, really proud of their focus today. We talked about just playing with great effort and trying to limit mistakes. That's really all we talked about all week long. And simplified some of the things that we did on both sides of the ball. And what an amazing effort we got from so many players. We had a bunch of guys hurt and 7 starters out and all that kind of stuff. But our kids stepped up and they played very focused. We really talked about limiting penalties. We did a pretty good job of that, especially in the first half. I was really disappointed about the personal foul on the sideline. That really upset me in the second half because we gave them a score and our guys were playing so hard. But there was just so many outstanding performances. Robert Edmondson on defense, Jace Bella with the multiple turnovers, Paul Tangelo with the scoop and a score touchdown. Owen Long, what can you say about Owen Long? I mean, that guy absolutely loves to play football. And, I told the TV guys yesterday, we play the one sport where people can see your soul on Saturdays. And I guess it's Friday tonight, but, we show people our soul when we go out there and work. And I don't know, if you can't appreciate this football team's soul, then you got a problem. And I will say that out loud every day and twice on Sundays. But we got amazing players. We got a really quality coaching staff. And, this was a special win. The offensive kids played great. Rocky Beers had a really big-time game. We gave every one of our backs a game ball. Justin Marshall started the game off with the big play. Lloyd Avant made his share. Jalen Dupree is one of the toughest guys I've ever been around. We made him a captain this week, and he ran extremely hard. And what about Javion Kennard? What a little fire plug he is. He's a talented back. Coach Moses did a great job of finding him. And we've been trying to figure out ways we could get him into the game and make a contribution. And so he was fantastic tonight. Jackson, with the 3 touchdown passes. The thing that I was most impressed with Jackson was how he kept his senses and made good decisions. Threw the ball away when he didn't have anything, found open receivers when they were open, made good checks at the line of scrimmage, comes to the sideline and we have clear adult conversations about what's going on the field and what we can do. That's important. And that's something that we can definitely build on. So really, really proud of our program, really proud of our players. And, it's one game, but it is an example of what we're capable of when we play together. And that was the most satisfying thing of tonight, is that we played well in all 3 phases and we complemented each other.
I think we added up tonight. There was like 10 starters that you were missing from tonight's game, guys who had started earlier. And the season's felt a little bit like Murphy's Law. Was it personal pride that really kind of stomped out that karma?
Yeah, we always have personal pride, but it's tough. I think the big thing I usually don't talk to them after we go to the movies, but I did last night. And the one thing that I told our team is that, the cavalry's not riding in to save us. we have to save ourselves. And so we have to make plays. We have to go out there and make plays. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. And so, and I think they heard me last night. I really do. But we've got some amazing leadership. I really wanted to recognize, and I probably will when we meet with the team, but I want to recognize our captains that have been injured, that are out for the season. I mean, we found out yesterday that Jaquez Evans is going to be done for the year. I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I mean, nobody was expecting him to be out for the year. He had a stinger. They took an MRI. They found some more serious stuff. This guy's a senior. He's got an opportunity to go to the NFL, and all of a sudden he finds out he can't play anymore. I mean, that guy was at the movies last night. He was encouraging his teammates. He was up and down the sidelines. I mean, I couldn't be more pleased with a captain than him. Tanner Morley, he loves his football team. He's out there on crutches. McKenday had season-ending surgery this week, and half our team is in his room after surgery. But those guys are still leading, which is pretty special. They care. They care about CSU. They care about this football team. They care about this program. And so that's what I'm proud of. I'm really proud of the people that we have and how they handle themselves. And so we stress that here at CSU, and that's important to us.
On the flip side, your defense, it's a heck of a response from last week with 4 turnovers, 5 sacks. How happy were you with? I mean, they came up with big stops when you needed them.
Yeah.
They might not have been perfect, but came up with big stops. What did you think about their response tonight?
I thought it was great, and our kids have been diligent. We haven't had the execution that we wanted, but we've never quit. And so that's why I believe that that better things are down the road for this group. And I just think this is an example. This is just scratching the surface. We're capable. We have a lot of capable players that played closer to their potential tonight, which is exciting to see. But we'll build on it. A lot of these guys are just getting started. And so, we still got to patch everybody up. We're going to have to be mindful of how we practice with all these injuries. But we're excited to be able to come home again next week and play here in Camas.
You mentioned Donut's injury and kind of how much of a shock it was. Do you feel in some ways like the locker room almost responded to all this that you're facing, kind of a, I guess, fight for the guys that aren't there type response? Just with how they played?
I kind of lost you, but I think I know what
they're in a way playing for the guys that aren't available.
No question. I think they're playing for each other. I think they genuinely care for each other, and I think you can see that when they play. I think it's fairly obvious that they care about each other and play so hard for one another, and that's all we've been trying to generate is that closeness and that feeling of one, and we found it tonight, and we got to keep pushing it. But I also think that these guys understood and experienced how to focus and play for 4 quarters. That's something that we've really been pressing. And, and I mentioned it last week after the game. I thought last week was the first time that our defense kind of started freelancing at the end of the game last week when we played San Diego State. And I just want them to follow the plan. We have good coaches. They're putting them in position to make plays. All they got to do is trust their coaching and do the things their coaches are asking them to do. And we did that tonight. And we can build on that.
The running backs, like you say, obviously a lot of different types of performance. Just how good is that group, and I guess diverse skill set too of what they can do.
Yeah, they're very different too. Jalen is kind of a run right through you kind of a guy, and then Lloyd can do both, and then Justin's a classic slasher, and then Chop he's hard to catch, man, I tell you. And but very explosive, and what a great catch he made on that long pass by Jackson. But that's that's what he's capable of doing. And, we've kind of had all these pieces, and we're trying to just tie them all together and let those kids feel confident about what we're asking them to do. And so we just keep pounding the same things and keep bringing them along. And but really got to give a lot of credit to Jackson Rousseau, because he kind of ties it all together and allows all those guys to do what they do best. And that's all we need. We need a point guard that can spread the ball around and can do a good job of complementing them.
I was gonna say, how important is it that he's been keeping the ball out of Harden's way
Great.
since he came in?
We've done a good job the last 3 weeks, and we got to continue to do that. The turnovers are huge. I challenged our guys with that. That's one area that, there's an article that came out this week about, the top 20 teams in the country, and they all had one stat in common. It was turnovers. And they were all +1 or more in turnovers. And I told our kids, let's throw the record out. Let's just be the best in that. If we're in the best in that, the rest of the year, we're going to win a lot of games. And so, and that's kind of what I was talking about when I said we had to regroup, reevaluate where we are, what we can accomplish, all those things. We can still accomplish a lot. And there's a lot of meat on the bone in this season. And so, we just have to understand the factors that lead to winning and then stay in that lane and fight to stay in it every week. And that's what we have to do.
I know you're going to want to look at the game film, but this is the first time, I think, since 2017, CSU scored touchdowns on its first 4 possessions of a game. Do you think it was simply just better execution, or was there something different about what you did offensively tonight?
No, I think it was definitely better execution, but I think it's just it's the kids are settling down and they're understanding their roles and they're executing. And and Jackson is executing things the way that we are asking him to do it. So I just think it's about the kids doing the things they're coached to do. And Matt did a great job. I think Matt did a great job, but the kids responded and they executed, and we got to build on that. They're capable of producing at a high level.
In addition to what Mike said, you touched on, limiting penalties this game. How much easier does that make it to, game plan and let the guys go out and perform?
Well, there's a lot of factors. I'm proud of some of the progress we made with the penalties. I'm still not happy with some of the second half penalties that we had, but we really stressed penalties and turnovers, and trying to play with limiting mistakes, and I do think we played extremely hard tonight, and so those are things that we've got to continue to do. We got to be a team that doesn't beat itself, and if we can do that, we're going to put ourselves in position to do some positive things.
You mentioned Lloyd as a back that can run guys over and make guys miss, but you look at Paul Tangelo's run on that return. What did you see out of him?
Well, really good linebackers typically were running backs, and so, but our linebackers are athletic, and Paul is a talent, and I'm so excited that he had that big play and we could give him a game ball. Jeremy Narbonne's another good athlete. Kenyon Eggers is another good athlete. Those are all outside backers. I think Jaquez had like 40 touchdowns his senior year as a running back. And so it just shows you their athletic ability, how talented those guys are. And, we just got to build on that. And we've got some good playmaking kids, and they showed some of the things they were capable of tonight, and we just got to continue to build on it.
Jay, you talked a lot about the guys wanting to play for each other. Does that help in a game where the defense is forcing turnovers and turnovers on downs and the offense is immediately cashing in on touchdowns? Is that all kind of building toward the cohesion of wanting these guys to play for each other because they know if I make a play, the other side's going to back me up?
Yeah, I think, we talk about it all the time, is that's what we're striving for. We're striving to play as one team and complement each other. I think it's really important that the offense can score and answer when the other team scores, But then also the defense comes back and gets a turnover after we score. And now you start having some momentum in a game. And that's something that we haven't had much of, so far this season. But we needed a breakthrough. We needed a breakthrough night where we played well together. And it was fun to do that in front of our home crowd. And it's definitely something that we can build on. But I think it's really evident that this team cares about each other, and these kids are unselfish, and it is we over me. And so we got to continue that.
Obviously, Paul making the play on the return, but Kenyon and kind of recovering and hustling the ball to punch it out. Was that nice to see from a guy that really is going to be asked a lot of him the rest of the way with so many injuries?
No doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of, Kenyon's got a bigger role now that we've had these injuries, and and he's a guy that's really capable of making a lot of good things happen. I was proud of our pressure that we put on the quarterback tonight. We got some sacks that we haven't been getting the last couple weeks, and so we got some sacks, we got some turnovers, we created some havoc, we had some fourth down stops. That's the kind of day we got to have. And then that really helps us offensively as well. And so, those two things are big. The way we ran the ball tonight was important. We had a little lull there in the third quarter where we weren't as productive, but overall, our ability to slow their run down and for us to run the ball effectively was a big part of the game. And so really proud of our guys for responding that way.
Alex Foster, has had to step up recently. I mean, and then you just see all the running backs, like different running backs having success still. I mean, what has that group really done, for just the team this year?
All the running backs?
Or sorry, the offensive line.
The line has been really good. I think those guys have worked really hard. We had several well-blocked plays tonight. The big touchdown was really that Justin had early in the game was a really well-blocked play. And so, those guys are doing well. And Alex has stepped in and really been a good player for us. He's an experienced guy. He's a veteran player. And that's what we've worked really hard to build depth. So if we lose guys, we have guys with experience that can come in. So proud of our O-line tonight.
Jay, despite everything that may be said on the outside, you put a lot of faith in this team to have a breakthrough like tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of emotion on your face. What exactly are you feeling right now?
Just very grateful. Very grateful. This ball, Jesus Christ got a game ball tonight. And it's the last thing we talked about when we left the locker room. And I'm very, very proud that we can do this. And so, I'm proud of our players. I'm really proud of our players. I'm proud of our coaching staff. And, it's, when you have tough times and stuff, you find out a lot. And I told the team, actually, before the game, I told them, I'm appreciative of the good times, but I'm also appreciative of the hard times, and I appreciate God has given me hard times, because it really teaches you to appreciate the things that are really important and the people that are really important. You find out about people in hard times. And so I feel very blessed. I've got a great football team. I got great kids. I got great staff that I get to work with every day. And so I'm just very pleased about that.
Guys.